Welcome to The Explainer. I am so incredibly glad you're here because today we're doing something a little bit different. We are officially breaking the girl code. I'm going to be sharing the actual insider secrets, the clinical research, and the deep dating psychology behind what women literally want. These are the kinds of conversations we have with our girlfriends over drinks that you are never, ever really supposed to hear. But today, I'm pulling back the curtain to give you the ultimate insider's guide. So let me just ask you point blank, do you really know what women want? Because what if I told you that almost everything society, movies, and pop culture have been feeding you is probably dead wrong? Seriously, we're going to contrast all those tired, outdated cliches with the deep psychological truths that actually drive female attraction. So get ready to unlearn a few things. Here is our exclusive blueprint to the female mind. Sparking initial attraction, taking charge, mastering emotional intelligence, romance and intimacy secrets, keeping the mystery alive, and finally, building lifelong trust. Okay, let's dive into this. Number 1, sparking the initial attraction, beyond the first glance. Look, we women constantly say things like, oh, personality's everything, mainly because, well, we don't want to sound shallow. But the absolute truth is, beyond that very first glance, attraction definitely starts with a visual. But here's the good news. You do not need to be a male model. What we actually care about is that you care about yourself, right? Basic grooming, a decent haircut, and just wearing clothes that actually fit your body type matter immensely. And here's a fun fact. A WebMD study actually found that wearing the color red subconsciously makes men seem more powerful and sexually desirable to women. It's a seriously great tool. On top of that, clinical research from the Gottman Institute shows that the success of a man's initial approach is dictated up to 90% by how well he reads a woman's nonverbal signals. She is looking for the grape, which, when crushed, provides a structure that is complex but not too full-bodied, an aroma that is delicate and fresh, and an intensity which is balanced. And this brilliantly illustrates how a woman's taste completely evolves. That's from The Rake, and it basically compares dating to refining your palate for wine. In our teens, we might totally fall for the flashy, superficial guys. But as we mature, our tastes refine. We stop looking for just the prettiest grape on the vine, and we start craving a structure that is complex, balanced, and deeply emotionally intelligent. We want a partner who can actually challenge us and match our maturity. Number 2, the art of taking charge. Action over indecision. So once that initial spark is lit, how you act dictates whether that flame grows or totally fizzles out. There is this deep, almost instinctual feminine desire for a man who leads with total clarity and confidence. And we need to bust this bad boy myth right now. Women aren't actually attracted to guys who treat them like garbage. No, we are drawn to their firm boundaries. What we truly actually want is the confident reality, a good man who has his own life, who is maybe slightly unpredictable, and who offers this subtle, unprompted protection. I'm talking about things like instinctively switching sides on the sidewalk, so you're the one closer to the traffic. Let me tell you, that subtle protection is incredibly attractive. So, the crucial point is this. Decision-making is incredibly sexy. Indecision, that is a massive attraction killer. If you are constantly asking, oh, what do you want to do? Where do you want to eat? You're basically forcing her to step into the role of your manager. And we don't want to manage you. We want to relax. We want to trust you to just handle the plans. Take the initiative, pick the restaurant, and just tell her what time to be ready. Number 3, mastering emotional intelligence, connection over fixing. As a relationship deepens, having a lasting dynamic absolutely requires emotional maturity. Now, we constantly say we want a vulnerable man, right? But actually scratch that, we absolutely do not want emotional neediness. We do not want you to have a meltdown and expect us to become your permanent full-time therapist. What we are really craving is emotional stability. We want a man who can say, hey, I had a really frustrating day at work, and share his feelings, while still maintaining his core strength and balance. So emotional intelligence looks exactly like this in practice. When she's upset, just listen to her, without immediately jumping in to try and fix her world or offer a million solutions. The Gottman Institute actually found that the number one thing women need is for men to safely attune to their negative emotions. Also, pay attention to the subtle stuff. WebMD highlights that if she is mirroring your movements or your moods, she's charmed by you. And finally, when she playfully disagrees with you or acts just a little bit difficult, realize it's an instinctive test. Pass it by staying confident and not crumbling. Number 4, Romance and Intimacy Secrets, the Data on Desire. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we are turning to clinical data from the Gottman Institute to bust some major myths about the bedroom. Look, excessive internet culture totally distorts reality. It trains the brain to expect instant arousal and constant readiness. But the clinical data shows a really stark contrast. Only 30% of women climax through intercourse alone. The vast majority, literally 70%, that is 7 out of 10 women, require much more foreplay, more tenderness, and a significantly deeper connection. Men need to ditch the myth of female sexual purity once and for all. With the right partner, women enjoy sex every bit as much as a man. Look at that powerful quote from Psychology Today. It is high time to ditch this outdated myth that women just aren't as sexual as men. With the right partner in an environment of genuine mutual respect and safety, women crave satisfying, adventurous, and passionate intimacy every bit as much as men do. Absolutely. But here is the big secret. Women prefer the scenic route. Foreplay doesn't start 5 minutes before the main event. It starts way outside the bedroom, hours or even days prior. It's built through non-sexual cuddling, passionate daily kissing, and, this is huge, totally avoiding transactional favors. If you are only doing the dishes because you expect a reward in bed later, we sense that immediately, and it is a massive turnoff. Build true desire through genuine everyday romance. Number 5. Keeping the mystery alive. The power of independence. Okay, one of the biggest dangers in any long-term relationship is predictability. Just pure boredom. Making her the absolute center of your universe might sound romantic in a movie, but in reality, it's honestly just exhausting for her. Keep her hooked by having your own ambitious life, your own hobbies, your own goals. Don't drop everything just to be available 24/7. Surprise her randomly. Bring her a coffee or whisk her away on a Saturday, not because it's Valentine's Day, but literally just because. And keep that banter going. Challenge her playfully to keep the whole dynamic fun. If you take absolutely nothing else away from this section, please remember this. We want to be chosen, not needed. True burning desire comes from a man who has a full, exciting life, who has options, but who looks at us and deliberately makes space for us in his world. That comes from a place of strong, masculine confidence, rather than this needy scarcity mindset. Number 6. Building lifelong trust. The everyday choice. And now we navigate the beautiful, sometimes messy complexities of a long-term commitment in marriage. Dr. John Gottman's research shows how this timeline progresses. Let's move to and see how this builds across a lifetime of love. It always starts with limerence, that wild hormonal infatuation phase. Then it has to actively move into building trust, which requires creating real safety and emotional attunement. And finally, it culminates in building commitment, which is all about actively practicing gratitude and cherishing your partner instead of just longing for what's missing. So how do you actually build that commitment daily? Well, Authentic Manhood provides these fantastic, simple ideas. Serve her breakfast in bed. Call her in the middle of the day for literally no reason other than to say I love you. Ask her about her day and actually listen to the answer every single day. And hey, sometimes just let her win a fight. Lifelong love isn't just built in these huge, sweeping, grand gestures. It is built in these simple, everyday acts of connection and service. Because ultimately, out of everything we have discussed today, out of all the clinical research, all the psychology, and all the insider secrets, there is exactly one overarching quality that all women are ultimately looking for in a lifelong partner, and that quality is trustworthiness. Everything we've talked about today, taking charge, having emotional stability, taking the scenic route to intimacy, it all builds the deep trust that makes a woman feel safe enough to truly, completely fall in love with you. So the girl code has officially been broken. The secrets are out there, you know what she actually wants now. So the only question left is, are you ready to step up, apply these insights, and become the emotionally intelligent, confident man she actively chooses every single day? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me. Take these secrets, put them into practice, and I promise you it will change your relationships forever.